Hello, and welcome to the Patients Getting Paid podcast, where I interview people with chronic illnesses that have found ways to make money that accommodate their health and experts that can teach us all how to do it better. I'm Kathy Reagan Young, host of the Patients Getting Paid podcast and creator of the PGP online course. If you haven't already, head over and get on the waiting list for the course, and you'll also receive a weekly newsletter with tips and tricks for creating a chronicpreneur lifestyle and a list of gigs available that week. Sign up at patientsgettingpaid.com/list. Today's guest is Kelley Tredwin, a 30-year sufferer of chronic migraines whose work life had been underscored by medicating, massaging, eating and exercising her way out of her body, grasping for any miracle release from pain. Chronic migraine and the anxiety, insomnia, and body sensitivity that goes with it had been constants in her life. 7 years ago, she left her job behind to learn who she was underneath her pain narrative and to become a chronicpreneur. She threw herself into yoga and wore leggings constantly, a woman after my own heart. And she began to feel better when she hiked and she slept through the night. Woohoo! Goals. Today, Kelley works as a certified health coach, helping others find their pathway to optimal health. Welcome, Kelley. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I love what you're doing, helping other people who have chronic illness.
Oh, thanks. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. If you would please share the story of you, whatever you want to share with us, whatever makes you comfortable, your background, whatever makes you you.
Well, I'll start out just saying I love sunsets and I love hiking.
Yeah.
I love cake and
Yay! We could be best friends.
I adore my husband, who we've been together for 15 years, and my son. And my son and my husband are my biggest cheerleaders. And I could gush on and on about them for days, but this is about me, not them.
Heck with them.
So we go on a lot of adventures, and that I think defines my life. I mean, being a chronic migrainer is an adventure, one that I wish I could get off the boat on, but you learn how to persevere and have a bit more tenacity than I might have had if I didn't have this. So we consider adventuring anything from, painting the kitchen to installing a new shower to taking a 2-week camping trip up the Western Seaboard.
Fun.
Those adventures have been, over the years, I have to be really careful about how I manage being out, how I hike. I have not always been very aware of taking care of myself. I'm an achiever, and so I like to check off those achievement boxes. That doesn't always go so easily with having a chronic illness.
Right. True.
So I think because of that, I spent years in constant desperation, wishing I could do more, feeling guilty for not doing more, and spending a little too, not spending enough time really just enjoying my life. In 2013, we had a pretty major house fire.
Oh no.
And when that house fire happened, it kind of was my wake-up call. I had been working in a health system as a development and marketing person, working 60 hours a week, raising a kid, trying to have some sort of life in between a migraine every day. And when that happened, I was just like, okay, I gotta rebuild my house, and I gotta make sure my son is okay. And so at that point, I stopped working, and it's not an easy journey to stop working when you're a working girl.
Yeah.
But it's the best thing I've ever done.
And just to be clear, you stopped working for someone else, but
I did.
you were working at building a house back, you were working at growing a child into an adult. I mean, you were still working, sister.
And I did not, I didn't go into that easily. You're right. I did not stop working to take care of myself. I was still pretty much trying to ignore my body and thinking I could just barrel through and keep going. And, kids grow up, houses get rebuilt, and I was still standing there like, you can take care of yourself, Kelley, whenever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. But that takes an achiever a little bit of time, right? To put yourself first,
Yeah.
take care of you.
Yeah.
Especially moms. I think as moms, we're so used to back burnering ourselves, and then you add a chronic illness to it too. I don't know. I'm finding this common thread with a lot of chronic illness moms where I'll get around to taking care of me sometime
Yeah.
after this and after that and after everybody else is taken care of. I think that's just moms. You don't have to have a
Yeah.
chronic illness to back burner yourself, right? But it's worse when you have a chronic illness because it's more
Yeah.
important that you take care of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. I think,
So,
and it's not a straight line path.
right.
I started when I decided that, okay, I'm a working girl. I still want to work. I started thinking I was going to do my own business and it was going to be focused on yoga. And I
Mm-hmm.
launched into yoga for chronic pain and mindfulness-based stress reduction. And that was my first iteration of my own business. And
Mm-hmm.
the second iteration added consulting with people around transitions in life.
Mm.
It could be a
Something you
senior.
know about. Yeah.
Yes. um, and so it's just been this kind of adding slowly until I came to the place of, okay, this health coaching brings all of these things together and it works now. And I'm sure
So,
in 4 years there'll be another evolution, but I think it's a myth to say you just stop one thing, jump into it,
start
and it
another.
works.
Yes, there's so many things I want to unpack in this. Yummy.
Okay.
So, number one, I just want to point out something that Kelley just said, and that was, I started here and now I'm here, two different places, but you probably got to the further place because along the line you are growing and learning, and you are with each experience, you're able to take that in, and then that becomes another iteration in your path to your chronicpreneurism. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
And trying
And
things is so important. Try, like you tried the yoga thing and then you added on something else, and just, getting started that's my number one thing that I want to say to everybody is just start, like just do it. And don't feel like something you come up with and want to start today is going to be the end all and be all, right? Like, I'm going to start because this is what I know right now and I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work out, I always say, as long as you don't quit, you never fail. Just keep going, keep adding, and figure it out like you did.
and when you let go of, I've talked myself through this 100 times, letting go of those outward indicators of success. When I was working in corporate healthcare, there's indicators of success of how much money you make, of how many contacts you make, of how many services that you bring in. And all of those are external. And
Mm-hmm.
one of my biggest challenges is letting go of those external indicators and recognizing that my indicator of success is being able to do what I need to do in order to get healthier.
Yeah,
Um, and financial health is a really important part of being healthy.
so true.
And I can't be financially healthy if I'm not physically, mentally healthy in order to do what I like to do.
Yeah,
So
great
there's a
point.
lot in that, but just taking a step. I mean, you bring up you can't fail. I've been toying with this idea of we all fail every day, all the time in so many things, and unpacking that fear and that judgment around failure is bad.
Mhm.
Failure is just one more step. And after you fail, you get back up, and that's a success too.
Yeah. And there's the saying, fail fast, meaning
Fail
try
fast, move
something,
forward. Yeah.
fail fast. And okay, but again, as long as you don't quit and as long as you learn something from that failure,
Yeah.
keep moving forward. I just think that's the key. And you bring up such a great point about the financial aspects of it. And that can be a great stressor and a great source of anxiety. So, a lot of what I advocate for people just starting out in chronicpreneurism is just dip your toes in the water. Maybe do a side hustle, start with, I don't even, you could start with just doing some surveys, just like get some initial success. You got to feel that and know that it's real. Like you really can make money online. You really can do it yourself. But maybe just getting a little taste of it to convince yourself of it first can help dial down your anxiety about going forward. Does that make sense to you? Sounds kind of
It
like that's what you did. Yeah.
does. Anxiety is a big part of chronic migraines.
Hmm.
I've never met a person with chronic migraines who didn't also have anxiety around the pain cycle and how to manage migraines. And
Yeah.
so anxiety is something that at least those of us who have migraines are pretty familiar with living in.
Hmm.
And I think your point about taking a small step to assure yourself that your body has the tolerance to handle this new thing.
Hmm.
Even if it triggers a migraine, you still did it once and you can move around it a little bit and figure out how to do it again in a different way. But just taking those small steps keeps giving us that reassurance. And
Yeah.
I'll also say that when starting out, um, I was still in a really bad migraine cycle for,
Mm.
almost 2 decades, just living in my pain and not really just denying it, basically
Mm-hmm.
denying it. But the healthier that I got, the more I could commit to doing more
Hmm.
work that I wanted to do.
Sure.
And that's a really hard lesson to
Mm.
say you have to slow down in order to be able to speed up. And sleeping for 2 days or,
Yeah.
crying, I weeks
Right.
crying. Um,
Oh,
it's a process.
yeah.
Um,
It's a
so we
giving
can't do
yourself right, great point, and it's a giving yourself grace um lesson,
yes.
right? So
Yeah.
I always try and run it through my head when I'm beating up on myself, which I'm super good at, by the way. We
Me
all
too.
are. We all are. But I'm trying now this year to run it through my head. How would I speak to a friend who was dealing with this?
Mm.
And why can't I be that friend to myself? I would not say, you lazy piece of shit, like I say to myself on occasion. I wouldn't say, get your dead ass out of bed. I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I would not speak to someone else the way that I speak to myself. And I'm the only person that I know is going to be with me my entire life. I need to treat myself better. And so I oftentimes say, give yourself the grace you would give to your best friend, and or to strangers. I would give strangers more grace than I give myself, which is so dumb and so bad for us. And and forgive yourself. So what if you didn't finish it? Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say, yeah, I didn't accomplish fill in the blank, but I'm going to try again tomorrow. Like, I need some rest right now. I'm going to try it tomorrow or next week or whenever I am able, but I'm not going to beat up on myself because I didn't check that box off. I heard you say you like checking boxes. Me too, girl. And it's like an illness with me. Like, I just want to
Yeah.
check stuff off. Makes me so happy. But, we have to get to a point where we go, okay, those boxes are still there. I'll get to them. I'll be able to check them one day, but I can't right now. It's okay.
Yeah.
Talk to yourself the way you would talk to somebody else that, in
Yeah. Like
particular that you care for.
yeah, radical self-compassion, really.
That's a great term. I love
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah,
heard
that's a
that
good.
a couple years ago, and I try to remind myself that I don't have much compassion for myself. And I think that's a common thing among those of
Yeah.
us with chronic illness, because we get so tired of hearing ourselves say, I'm too tired, I'm sick. Finally we're
Yes.
like, get up.
Yeah. Right. Suck it up,
that,
buttercup. Yeah. Yeah, I
that
know.
radical self-compassion um, is super important
I
um,
agree.
in moving forward with your own business.
Yeah, I love that term. Okay, so if you would please share the story of your journey to chronicpreneurism. You got us through you're having to build a new house. You had a house fire, you've got a kid at home, you're dealing with horrible migraines. How did you so you quit your job, but how did you decide I'm going to start something on my
Well, it's messy.
own?
And life is just kind of messy, I
It
guess.
is.
I really had to reckon with myself. My I have a famous thing I say to my husband all the time. I'm a working girl. I can't sit around. I
Mhm,
started working when I was 16. You know, I'm a working girl, and
mhm.
you can't just take that working girlness out of you because you have head pain every day.
Right, right.
And it's a reckoning, and it was not easy for me, and it's still not easy for me. Um, but that radical self-compassion, I think, started with I don't know how to be successful. Um, I worked. I was basically a workaholic
Mm,
for
mhm,
2 decades, and you know, my coworkers had to help me when I, passed out at work, or I couldn't drive myself home, but I didn't know when it was time to go home.
mhm,
And even though I changed the physical environment, I still had those same tapes. I saw
mhm,
that same drive and the same denial of my own pain.
mhm,
So I think what helped me the most is accepting that having migraines and having chronic illness is not a failure. Back to our theme,
right.
seems coming up. It's just what it is.
Mhm,
It's not a failure of me as a person. It's I don't have any control per se. I don't have any control over it. There are
mhm.
things that I can become healthier at, but the fact that I have a chronic illness, it just is. There's no judgment in it.
There's no fault.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
there's no
not a
fault.
judgment on you or me, because that we have and that's a huge thing to come to terms with.
It is. That's a big lesson to learn. So,
And
everybody
become
listen up. Like, learn that
yes,
lesson. That will help you a lot.
there is no fault.
Right. This is a no fault state.
So
Something else
I just oh, go ahead.
I was just noting that what I heard you say in being a working girl, I know you said that you started working when you were 16. I started very young also, and and that's my self identity, you know? And but what I think across the board that's important for every human being, and one of the driving forces of this patients getting paid initiative of mine, is that I think people do better when they participate in life and productivity. When you feel productive, and you feel that you have a purpose, you are naturally going to feel better mentally and physically. I just think that. I just believe that to my core. If you get up
I'm
and
totally with you.
I knew you would be. If you get up in the morning and you have nothing to do and you have no place to go and you have a chronic illness, you are going to go to some dark places in your head. And the what ifs and are going to get you, and the shoulds, you're going to should all over yourself, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think if you this is why I'm such a proponent of work of any kind, whether you're working for someone else or becoming a chronicpreneur. Becoming a chronicpreneur is work too, in and of itself, before you even start it. But like even getting your mindset right to get there and whatnot. But it is waking with a plan to be productive, and it is ending the day feeling as if you have contributed, whether it's monetarily or in intention or in what you've put out into the world, whatever it is, to wake up with some kind of purpose and end the day knowing you've had productivity. I think there's no better medicine. That's my thought.
I love you so much. Yes.
You agree?
I
Yeah.
yeah, so much. Having in my house, we have a list of projects all the time. And people immediately say, "Oh, projects, you're always doing projects, you're so productive." Yes, projects make you productive, but projects also give you this organizing principle for your life. And it helps you feel good about yourself and the people you're doing the projects with.
Hmm.
And you are so right. It gives you a reason to get up and
Yeah.
be.
And not think about poor me or I'm in pain or anything else. I mean, I have lost hours of what might have been time thinking about what ifs with MS or pain that I'm experiencing or whatever, because I can get myself so hype about what I'm working on and so, enthralled with working, particularly with patients getting paid. I'm so excited about this project, this adventure, um, that I can actually, kind of look up from my work and think, wow, where did those 3 hours go? What a gift when you, particularly if you are experiencing pain or numbness and tingling, all the hours of time of thinking about that isn't going to make it better. It's definitely going to make it worse.
Yes,
So,
you're
better
right.
you distract yourself with being productive in some way. And if you can add a component of income to it, so much the better. To feel like you are producing income and contributing somehow, ugh, win win.
Yes.
Win
Yeah.
win.
And I'll add another win to that for me is that, well, and your project, you get to work with other people and help see their success.
Yes.
In my health coaching, I get to work with people and help them figure out how they are accountable to themselves and what their dreams are and how they get there. And that gives me motivation and inspiration to keep going for myself.
Yes.
So it's iterative process of I'll help you and you help me.
Yeah.
And
It,
we
it
will
feels,
both get each other up off the sofa to do
yes.
what we want to do.
Yes, it feels almost like a selfish act sometimes. I get off a coaching call and I am so excited and so I can't wait till the next coaching call and I want to hear how they did. Like I give them homework and I can't wait to like, damn, I have to wait another week to find out if they did it. Now they did it. Now it's going for them and blah, blah. I'm so excited and I'm so yeah, it feels selfish to me because I get so much out of it, but I'm helping them, ostensibly
Yeah.
I'm helping them. I hope that I'm helping them. They tell me I'm helping them, but I'm getting so much out of it too. I just think when you do something where you can be working on behalf of others, helping people somehow, serving people, you serve yourself in such a I don't even know how to describe. It's such a big way that you're helping yourself when you're helping others. And I know that that's that's just intuitive. People know that, but I feel like I need to give voice to that. Like, and that helps our mental health and that helps our physical health. It's just all intertwined, right? So,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
when we're in a survivor mode, that, many of us have spent years in survivor mode, just, you know, pushing and pushing ourselves through, we forget that, at least I forget for many years, that I could get help from other people, because
yeah,
the pain
right,
is in my head, you know, over and over. I would say to my husband, and sometimes I still say this, you can't help me.
right.
And he's like, no, I can help you.
Hmm.
And just moving just a little bit outside of our own pain narrative or our own self-pity narrative to help someone else gives sometimes just gives me enough perspective that I can get out of survivor mode into, okay, I can thrive because my client can thrive. I can
Right,
thrive with my client.
right. Yeah, all great points. So, when you started your chronicpreneur business, did you start with yoga and eventually got to the health coaching?
I
Is
did.
that right? Okay.
I started teaching yoga for specifically women over 50 and people with chronic illness. I had some yoga clients who had MS, and
Can I just interrupt you for a second? You're not over 50, are you?
I am. I'm
You
52.
Wow, girl, you look great. So for those that are listening on audio, go to the YouTube channel because she looks fantastic. Yoga has done you right, my sister.
Uh, I've spent a lot of years beating myself up. It's sometimes I think it's a miracle I'm actually here on this
Still
with you.
standing. I hear you.
But
Me too. So
yeah, exercising and really,
you're a walking advertisement, frankly, for whatever you're doing. I want to do it too. Yeah, that's great. You look
I
great.
can do it. Anyone can do it.
So you started teaching yoga, and then what was the next sort of iteration?
I started teaching, and one, there's the yoga world is a really challenging world.
Mhm.
um, I did a lot of teaching for free, and I realized along the way that I really started doing the yoga for me.
Mhm.
And then I thought, I want to help other people, but the drive to do it for myself, for my own mental health and my own physical health, really was the driver. And so ultimately it wasn't the final step. It was just that next step to say,
Mhm.
basically, you can be a healthy woman, you can be physically fit, even with the chronic migraines that you have. So keep going,
Yeah,
do something.
don't stop.
And so I added the I took a bunch of training in mindfulness based stress reduction. And so I just kept pushing it, and also at the same time apologizing to my husband for being almost 50 and taking a bunch of classes, and just seeming like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, and just
What will I
really
be when I grow up? Yeah,
yeah.
I'm familiar. Uh-huh.
um and luckily, I have a very supportive circle of family and friends who
That's great.
always encourage me, like, Kelley, you are beautiful, you are smart, you can do this. Just give yourself a break, all right?
Right.
um
Yeah, because you're your harshest critic. We all are.
yes, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that just the next step was I joined with my girlfriend from college, and we both decided, okay, we're going to lose a bunch of weight.
Mm.
And this would be, in my mind at the time, this would be helpful for me, not only because I like to be outside, I don't want to have an extra 40 pounds on me, but it might help my cholesterol and my inflammation
Mhm.
markers and all these things that I think contribute to my migraines.
Sure.
And so I started moving in this direction of actual physical health as opposed to
Mhm.
just exercising or going to counseling.
Mhm.
And that was huge. And so that was kind of the next step after the yoga.
Mhm.
And
Gotcha.
now I integrate all of those things.
Into your business, which is health coaching,
Yes.
correct? So what does
Yes.
that look like? Is it done strictly on Zoom? I mean, would it be anyway, even though we're smack dab in the middle of a pandemic right now, but would it be even if you didn't? Yeah, right.
No, it's nice to be able to. So I live in Albuquerque. You know, we get to sit outside, 9 months out of the year.
Right.
And so it's nice to be able to meet in person.
Mhm.
It's a virtual job though. I
Yeah.
can be in my camper and sign on or text my client.
Yeah.
I had a client recently who she didn't like to talk on the phone. She only liked to text. So my whole relationship with her was through texting, and it worked
Mhm.
just fine.
Yeah, meet people where they are, right?
Yes. So,
Yeah.
as a health coach, you can make it work how you want it to work.
Mhm. Yeah, and I love that we're at a place in technology where and this is so important for chronicpreneurs because so much can be done online, virtually. I mean, it's come to the forefront because of COVID, but it was there anyway, and it's been such a gift to be able to do so many things from home or from anywhere, really remotely. We talk about work from home, but it's really work from anywhere. I always say be geographically independent. I've done work from a hospital infusion center. I've done work from a beach in the Dominican, and I can tell you which one of those I preferred.
That
But
you
the nice
can.
thing is, technology allows for that. So,
Yeah.
integrate the technology into what you want to do and like start off with the idea of the lifestyle that you want to have or need to have based on your health and you can pretty well make that happen through technology now, which is huge. And certainly coaching is a great example of that. So you do that on Zoom, I do my coaching on Zoom. It's a it's just a wonderful opportunity to be able to, and the nice thing too is you can record that, so if you want to send it to people, I mean, I work with a lot of folks with MS, with chronic, or excuse me, with cognitive issues, and I can just send them a copy of it so they can watch it whenever they
That,
want. So
that's a
yeah,
great idea.
yeah, it's really helpful. I came up with that because I have cog fog and I need somebody to send me stuff. Um, so let me ask you about the impact of your business to your chronic illness. You told me about when you were working in corporate and you had trouble, you needed a governor put on you. You had trouble knowing when to go home. You had trouble stopping. You passed out at work, whatever. Are you better at it now? And I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Does this afford you the opportunity to take better care of yourself?
Yes. I mean, it's a simple answer. Yes. The more complicated answer is what it really shows me is it's not a matter of time.
Hmm.
I had, and I think many of us say, I don't have time to take care of myself. I have to do this. I don't have a choice. When I turned that um, time issue off, I wasn't in the office for 60 hours a week. I still didn't know how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And I think in the last 7 years, I've swung all the way over to um, play with what it feels like to have a goal out there and want to do something and do nothing to get to it. Just watch it sit out there and just take no action,
Mm.
which was completely new in my life.
Hmm.
Um, it's really hard, even when you have the time, to figure out how to take care of yourself and what that means when you've been denying or ignoring or pushing away the pain just to
Mhm.
keep going.
Mhm.
Dealing with that pain is very painful.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to take steps forward is not really, well, for me, it wasn't a fast process.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's what doing your own business affords you, is that um, beautiful opportunity, and also harder than anything else to actually deal with yourself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautiful way of putting it. Um, is this full time for you or well, no, I know it is your job. Like you don't have another job. This is what you do, and I assume that whether it's full time or part time is up to you.
Yes.
Got
Yeah,
it.
the whole thing's up to me. It's basically a sales job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't sell myself. I don't have any clients. Um, and so, however hard I work, I or smart I work generates business or not.
Right.
I also do, my husband, we have a small business that my husband runs.
Mm.
And so I work with him. I do marketing with him.
Mhm.
I can consider him my client.
Mm. Yeah. And this
So
affords both of these afford you the opportunity to work it around your health, though, is the key,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. And take better care of yourself. So, is this the health coaching, is that a steady income or can it be if you so choose it to be?
it can be a steady income. And one of the beauties of, so I partner with a company called Optavia, and my girlfriend from college, we both ha- amazingly have always been in the same field. We've both been
Mm.
in development and marketing. She has fibromyalgia. And
Mm.
so she also is a health coach. And so we work together, and we have a group of other women that we work with to cheerlead each other on. And like
Nice.
we have a friendly contest going now of, um, how are we um, going to expand our network? And so it's a friendly contest. It's
Uh-huh.
not, um, it doesn't keep me up at night.
Yeah, it's not cutthroat. Right. I
um,
love it.
so it's great to be able to work with other women and also work on my own at my own pace.
Nice. So how much does a health coach make? I mean, is that billed out on hours or, I mean, hourly, or is it based on, getting from point A to point B? Do you have packages?
Um,
How does that work?
can be so different health coaches work in different ways. It can be an hourly. In Optavia, um, we work on a project basis.
Okay.
So you decide that you want to join a certain plan
Mhm.
to reach a goal in a certain period of time, and we create a pricing structure around that.
Gotcha.
It's 1 month, it's 3 months, it could be a year. It depends on what your goals are, but it's
Mhm.
based on what your goals are and how fast you want to get to your goals,
Gotcha.
or how measured you want to be.
Mhm.
I would say, it's a range. You can make $100 a month. You can make $5,000 a month. My goal is to make $5,000 a month, so I'm
Mhm.
inching my way toward that goal.
Yeah.
Um, I decided at some point, okay, because I don't want to be in the corporate thing anymore, and that just about killed me. That salary, I want to let go of that goal, but
Mhm.
5,000 a month sounds like a kick-ass goal to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that
So
is
that's
good.
what I'm working toward.
Good. How do you market yourself?
I market myself mainly on social media.
Mm.
And I'm, one of my greatest skills is networking.
Mm.
I love to meet new people and connect them with other people. And I have this ability to listen to your story, Kathy, and then just remember, like, oh, Kathy said this. And then a month from now, like, oh, I wonder how Kathy's doing on that.
Mm.
Um, and so that's my main strategy, is
Mm-hmm.
just talking to people and learning their stories and finding out, is there a way that I can help you get to where you want to be?
Nice.
It's a pretty soft approach.
Yeah.
Even hearing myself say it, it's a soft approach.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still sales.
Yeah. And it
Ultimately.
obviously works. What do you do for health insurance if you're working for yourself?
My husband and I, we have catastrophic
Okay.
insurance.
Okay.
And so it's a high deductible, and I don't know. It doesn't exactly seem like health insurance to me when you have, a high deductible.
Right.
So most we pay out of pocket for our, for my day-to-day healthcare, week-to-week healthcare. It's mostly out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have the catastrophic, which
Okay.
is important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you have any apps or special tools that you find helpful either in your work or in dealing with chronic illness that you could share with the community? And I did hear you say that a lot of your marketing is done on social media. So maybe the apps that you find most helpful, the social media that you use most.
I have a very active Facebook
Okay.
community. That's at Kelley, Kelley, .Tredwin. Um, I use Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, I'm part of two big migraine uh, survivor groups, which I love.
Mm.
Uh, and in terms of managing my business, I use Slack a lot.
Oh, I love Slack. I love it. Do you use that with your clients?
I don't use it with my clients. I use it with my colleagues.
Yeah, me too. But I'm
Um,
thinking of doing that for my coaching, actually, giving them like
that
creating a channel. Isn't that interesting? I just
that's a
stumbled
great
on that this week and
yeah,
I'm like, oh, why aren't I using this for that? I
that's a
think that could
great
be
idea.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
need to think that through a little bit, but I think it could be really good.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Any other apps that you find helpful?
Well, personally, for my migraines, I've used Migraine Buddy for a really long time. It helps me track my migraines.
Okay.
But I will say that in addition to just tracking my migraines, I am a huge fan of um, Fitbit, and I track my sleep, my
Ah,
steps, heart rate,
yeah.
um, through through the Fitbit app. And not only has it created a new set of conversations with me and my husband.
I have mine on right now. I don't want to tell you how low my steps are today.
Oh, mine are pretty low. So my
Ooh,
husband is really competitive, and it's the how many steps did you get today? And if I'm really low on steps, got to take the dog out for a walk.
yeah.
Um,
I've
so
never thought I was competitive, but I've literally gotten out of bed when I realize I have like, 600 more steps or whatever to hit 10,000. I'm like, I got to get up. Or quite honestly, I will just tell you this. I have like done this, like just like to get
okay,
my steps, which is wrong, but at least it's movement, right? I'm still
my
moving.
husband does the same thing. It's a
Good. I like him.
more
I like your
focus on
husband.
the end result than the process. That's what I say.
Yeah. Good idea.
So,
Okay. I
I
love
mean,
those.
Migraine Buddy helps me manage the illness part, but moving outside of myself as an ill person, Fitbit helps me focus on myself as a healthy person.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
like that. Yeah.
so I
Good
think
point.
there's Fitness Pal, and I think the Apple health app is moving to doing a lot of that also. But
Okay. You mentioned on Facebook that you're part of some big groups over there. Is Migraine Strong one of them?
no, I
Oh,
haven't
you
heard.
need to look up Migraine Strong.
Okay.
My friend Eileen Zollinger started that, and she's a dynamo. You would love her. But I
Okay.
digress.
I'll look up as soon as we're done here.
Yeah, it's really good. Um, okay, so how about organization? How do you keep things straight? Like this kind of freaks a lot of people out starting a business. Things like you know, finances and income and getting ready for taxes, all that kind of thing. Do you use QuickBooks or a spreadsheet or how do you do that?
I use QuickBooks.
Okay,
I used QuickBooks in my old corporate world. So
mm,
for me, using QuickBooks
natural.
is, yeah,
Yeah,
QuickBooks
makes sense.
is a program, um, but you don't have to use all of it.
True.
Um, I'll say outside of QuickBooks, I'm kind of a mess. Most of the
That's
time, I'm pretty much a hot mess. It's hard to keep your brain organized when you have low grade pain.
mhm,
And when you feel good, you definitely don't want to be sitting down in front of the computer doing QuickBooks. You want to be doing
right.
something better.
Yeah.
So I've in the last, I don't know, few years, I've tried to focus on, okay, everything is never going to be together.
Mhm.
What's the one thing that I really need to have together?
Yeah.
And um, frankly, it's not QuickBooks.
Mm,
You, I think we have to keep our finances in order, one for taxes, which is important, but
yeah.
we can get those in order. We don't have to be thinking about it every day.
Mm,
So I
okay.
hired a bookkeeper, and she works a couple of hours a month, and she accepts my lack of organization.
Right. So find somebody who gets you, somebody who
Yes,
understands you and accepts you for who you are.
yes, yeah, and is willing to work with you wherever that is.
Yeah.
Um, I tried out one bookkeeper, and I knew after the second time we met, I hadn't gotten this. Some people need more structure. I have none, so I need to find someone who's willing to help me find it.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I think asking for help and finding appropriate help
Yeah.
is really important, and it doesn't have to be expensive.
Well, I was going to ask you about organization next, but I think that you already answered that. I am on a quest to be as organized as humanly possible because I am a creative at heart, which means I have notes all over the place. I've got lists everywhere and organization is a challenge. But I am trying really hard this year to be organized because I do recognize that the more organized I am, the less clutter that is around me, the less clutter I have in my head, and I just feel lighter. I just feel better. So it's a little bit of a struggle, but I've been using Evernote, which I love. I highly, highly recommend. That's, I mean, oh, and I just started using Co-Schedule, because I have a lot of social platforms that I post to every day, both for my FUMS, my patients getting paid, and then I do a lot of patient advocacy work too. So I'm posting all over the place, and that works well with my head, which is I can see it in a calendar view, and I can post everything. I can set it up, schedule the posts, and I can color code them. So at one viewing, I can see, oh, I'm pretty heavy in FUMS today and not so much in PGP. I need to do some more over there. And that's helped a ton. So I'm sharing an app with you. If you get to that point where you need to do more, it's real. I've found it really helpful.
What's that one called?
It's called Co-Schedule.
Co-Schedule.
Yeah.
Because Constant Contact has that calendar scheduling thing for the different social media channels as well, and it
Oh,
works pretty good. But Constant Contact is also not cheap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What
I was
is?
using that for a while, and then I abandoned it because
Yeah.
I didn't want to spend the money on it.
Did you use that for like email server and stuff too?
Yes,
Do you use something a different tool now?
I use Canva.
What? How are you
I use
using Canva for your
I
email list?
I don't send it directly from Canva. I
Yeah.
create it in Canva, and then I send it out myself through my
Oh.
Google.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
but
Okay.
I love Canva, and it's less expensive. It's easy. You can share documents between, between different people.
I had never
So
thought about I
constant
mean,
contact.
I use Canva for graphics for sure and creating images and all that kind of stuff, but it never dawned on me to use it. I use MailChimp
Oh,
for my email, and I will create things in Canva and bring them over to MailChimp, but um, that's how I do my email list anyway. But
I've made
um,
myself, I've made it a little more challenging for myself, but it's a trade-off,
yeah,
I traded the cost of constant contact for a little more time, but
yeah,
it's also more freedom, and I like what I can do in Canva.
yeah. So you do most of your marketing on social media. Is that just organic stuff and you posting, or have you purchased any ads? Do you pay for ads at all?
I have not paid for ads on Facebook. Where I have paid for ads is on an app called Nextdoor. That's a
Yeah.
neighborhood bulletin board kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And um, Nextdoor is awesome for more intimate conversations. Well, they talk a lot about dog walking and picking up your dog poop.
They do.
They also talk about, how nice the trails are in the neighborhood, what's going on at the park. It's
Uh-huh.
neighborly. And I think back in the day, we used to walk next door and talk to our neighbor about this and get the gossip.
Right.
Now we do it on Nextdoor. So I
Right.
use that quite a bit
I didn't
for
even know
posts.
you could purchase ads on there. That's very interesting.
Yeah, you
That's
can.
why I love these kind of questions, because particularly starting out as a chronicpreneur, you might not know about, well, heck, I'm not just starting out and you just taught me something. So thank you.
Yeah, and Nextdoor is pretty inexpensive, and it
Oh.
reaches a very specific group. So my neighborhood has 400 houses. My advertising can reach those 400 houses.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. But your stuff's all done online. So you could literally be taking clients from all over the world. Am I wrong?
I I could. I started to do that Nextdoor advertising because I had this idea that if I increased my client base in my neighborhood, I could start walking groups, um,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
and do hikes for women of all sizes,
Yeah.
and start to increase the outdoor activity part of my work. And then of
Yeah.
course COVID happened, and now we're not doing that, but it'll come back around
Right.
eventually.
Yeah. 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 Great idea, though. Okay. So the big question, what advice would you give to other chronics who want to start something, more flexible or remote, either full time or as a side hustle?
uh, my first thing would be, don't give up on yourself. Just um, be gentle and even if it's really tiny steps, just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I have this, one of my favorite poems. It's called Autobiography in 5 Chapters. And it's the gist of it is, the first chapter, you walk down a street, you fall in a hole in the sidewalk, and you sit there and you're like, I don't know what to do. It's not my fault. I don't know how to get out. You just sit there. And then chapter 2, you walk down the same street, you fall in the same hole. It's still not my fault. I don't know what to do, but you don't sit there as long.
Mhm.
And then the next chapter, you walk down the street, you look in the hole and you're like, yep, the hole's there. I'm going to walk around. And then the last chapter, you go down a different street.
Oh, yeah. Great. Love it.
And uh, that's life. And it's also trying to figure out how to start your own business when you have a
Yes.
lot of other things going on that, oh,
Yes.
right, you've fallen the hole again. It's okay. Just get up, because the next chapter, you have the opportunity to go around the hole or take a
Yeah.
different street.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Kelley. If people want to learn more about you or your business, where can they find you?
They could go to my Facebook page at Kelley with an EY Tredwin. They can also go to my website, which is kelleytredwin.com, Kelley with an EY. And yeah, you can email me and call me from there. My phone number and my email are on both of those spots.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, Kelley. I wish you all the best in your chronicpreneur endeavors and in your health and in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm so happy for all of us that you're doing this. It
Oh,
really makes a difference. We're not alone, and it's great to connect with people and remind yourself that there's support out there. So
excellent. Well,
thanks.
thank you.